Alright everybody, today I'm going to be telling you guys the team that got me top 5 in the world, consisting of Chandelure, Lapras, Garchomp, SwSh, Venusaur, and Indeedee. First things first though, I want to make sure to get this out of the way. If you're new to the channel, I don't have OBS fully working for me right now because I'm having trouble with the webcam working with whatever I'm showing on screen. I only have the display capture right now, and even with the display capture, not everything is being shown through Safari. It's like zoomed in basically. So just keep that in mind. I am planning on fixing it, but for now, you'll just bear with this. I thought I would do some showdown replays and just do a voiceover over it. So I guess I'll go into the team now and how I started it. So it was basically just me coming up with seeing how previous ideas and concepts would mesh well together. I had Indeedee and Venusaur, which I thought was a good pairing in Series 9, Series 7, Series 8 even. And then in Series 10 I had Chandelure, which I found to be really good with dealing with Safety, and I had Hydreigon as well, which I found to be a nice bulky mon that dealt a good amount of damage to my opponents. However, Hydreigon ended up having to be replaced with Garchomp because I couldn't run Life Orb with it because Venusaur had the Life Orb, so I thought Scarf would be good, and I gave it Head Smash instead of Protect in order to deal with Charizards, and I thought that would be a good idea because Grimmsnarl would likely set Light Screen up against with their Charizard, while would he set Reflect, right? So that's the idea I basically came up with the Hydreigon. However, it was rather weak. It would die really easily, and if people were to send in Incineroar Hydreigon, I would be threatened with Fake Out first of all, and then I would be intimidated, so I would still not be able to KO the Charizard. And it ended up just proving itself to be a fat choice on the team, unfortunately. Another weakness about it with the Choice Scarf is Max Airstream so common whatever I plan on originally outspeeding. I wouldn't be able to outspeed because if I sent it out in a falling turn, for example, after they killed off a Mon or used Max Airstream against me and I get a switch, anything I planned on originally outspeeding would now have a speed advantage over me, and I wouldn't even be able to take the hits well anyways. It's just not that good in a Dynamax format, therefore Garchomp ended up replacing it because it's just good into some teams as well, and it's also good into Colossal teams. I thought Hydreigon would be good into Colossal teams because of Max Quake, but I mean Garchomp's just ultimately better. There's no reason not to be using Garchomp in my opinion. And then the other member was Rotom Wash. That ended up getting replaced by Lapras. It was a mon that I intended to be used for Kyogre, and it also would be a good way of dealing with Incineroar and Landers. However, it ended up proving not to be as good as I thought it would be because Gastrodon was so commonly paired with Incineroar and Landers. It just didn't work out. So I figured I would try out Lapras because I get the Freeze Dry for Gastrodon and I can still hit Landers and Incineroar with Hydro Pump, and on top of that I have Water Absorb for Kyogre, so Kyogre can't touch me unless it has Thunder, which is really nice because I 4 times resist any Ice type move. So that's how Lapras came on, and I guess that's pretty much the team, so I'll go into the spreads now. Let's start off with Chandelure. So the moveset is Overheat, Shadow Ball, Trick Room, and Prison. Its item is Focus Sash, and I have 4 HP, 252 special attack, 252 speed, Modest Nature. So the reason for Sash is because I just want to make sure it stays around as long as possible. I don't feel like I really need to explain that. Overheat I need because that's the only move Chandelure has, or fire type move, that can guarantee an Oko on Zacian. You might think Flamethrower might be better, but you need the Overheat to deal with satiated Abugus as well. And then you have Shadow Ball for Calyrex Shadow, Tapu Lele, which isn't common at all, but I mean if it pops up, it pops up. I know one person on High Ladder is using it. And the last 2 moves, Trick Room and Prison. Trick Room is always a good source of speed control, but I felt like Trick Room and Prison was really good because this team will struggle against Calyrex Ice if you don't have the Imprison on Chandelure. This way I can set Imprison, and then I can just set Vines up with Venusaur, and you can usually go through most standard compositions of Calyrex Ice. And that's all there is to it, to the spread, really. So we'll go into the Lapras now. The item is Citrus Berry. The move says Protect, Freeze Dry, Hydro Pump, Icy Wind, and its EV spread is 236 HP, 108 defense, Bold Nature, 140 special attack, 20 special defense, and 4 speed. The spread is probably not perfect. I'll need to look into this because my friend VGC Rishi pointed out to me that Lapras has a high base HP. Therefore, I should have been investing less in its HP stat and more on its defenses. However, it looks somewhat balanced, so I'm not 100% sure, as in the HP and its defenses seem somewhat balanced, so maybe I was in the right to include more HP for the Lapras, but I'll need to mess around with the spread, and if I come up with one in the future, I'll make sure to tell you about it, but that's all it is for now. What the spread does, though, is it's only a 12% chance that Urshifu with close combat will OHKO Lapras, and Jolly 252 attack Sacred Sword Zacian will never OHKO you. And for the special defense side, I live Timid Life Orb, Regieleki, Max Voltage from Rising Voltage, or Max Lightning from Rising Voltage. And that's all the Lapras spread is. As for the Zacian, the spread is 172 HP, 164 attack, Adamant Nature, 20 defense, 4 special defense, and 148 speed. The move says Protect, Behemoth Blade, Play Rough, and Sacred Sword, and the item is obviously going to be Rusted Sword. So, the spread I can tell you right now, I personally don't like because I would rather have 164 speed, that way I can outspeed Cinderace, which I found to be a common annoyance for me whenever I was playing with this team. You could work around it with Trick Room, but it would be annoying when Trick Room would expire and Cinderace would then outspeed you, but it would also be annoying if you were able to hit the Cinderace, but strictly because your EVs aren't enough that you wouldn't be able to touch him and you would die to Pyro Ball. I always found that to be rather annoying. The issue, though, is I don't know if I want to have 168 speed and sacrifice whether it's my attack, the offense, or some of my bulk. The 172 HP and 20 defense, make sure you live a 252 Adamant Precipice Blades from Groudon, and that's all the spread does. I found that's enough bulk for it, and the HP felt like it would be a good number. You're still going to be having trouble against Dynamax hits like Dynamax hits and Water Spout, but things like a Max Quake from Landorus are going to be killing you, so I didn't feel like I needed to go overly bulky in this. Zacian's a new mon for me. I still need to experiment with it, but this is basically just my ideas on it right now and what I think I would want to alter with it. As for moveset, Protect and Behemoth Blade are given. You should always have them. Play Rough I found to be really useful because there's just so many dragon types like Palkia, Kira, Metal randomly sees Zekrom, and it's always just nice to have Play Rough for those. And I have had games where I would just straight up OHKO Kyogre with a stab Play Rough when Kyogre just isn't Dynamax. I was going to say neither of us are Dynamax, but Zacian can't Dynamax, obviously. And Sacred Sword, I just want a reliable way to hit Incineroar, and also if Mons get Max Steel Spike Boost, which is really common, then that's another way to hit them, and I don't have to worry about people doing Iron Defense Body Press strats on me, which is also a nice bonus. Something that's really nice about Sacred Sword on Zacian is that you should never be losing to Chansey, so that's always nice because you should be able to kill it in the end. Should be able to win, and that's the Zacian spread. And then the Garchomp spread. So the item's wider, moveset Protect, Sword Stance, Stomping Tantrum, Rock Slide, and the spread is 76 HP, 172 attack, 4 defense, 4 special defense, and 252 speed Jolly. In my opinion, Jolly Garchomp with the 252 speed should always be run because being able to outspeed base 100s is a huge advantage, especially when using Gigas is somewhat common. I would always like being able to hit Regigigas pretty easily with Zacian and Garchomp, and you'll do a huge chunk of damage, and you should be able to have a good amount of the game done for you by then. To be determined, I guess, because Weezing always has to protect pretty much, unless we want to be really ballsy and go for a Will-O-Wisp, but you're going to be stacking max quick boost, so if they have something like Calyrex in the back, then you're going to be rather bulky against it, and you should have a reasonably fair matchup against it. Swords Dance is always nice because you can punish opponents for trying to be passive and set Intimidate on you, but what's nice about the Wide Herb is if you want to, Incineroar can come in, for example, intimidate you, but then your stats aren't going to be lowered because Wide Herb prevents that. And then you can OHKO Incineroars with the Max Quake. You only need 164 attack for OHKOing the, I believe it was Wolf's Instant Spread. That's usually what I calc for because it's like the bulkiest instant I personally know of. So 164 attack in order to OHKO Wolf's Instant. I'm pretty sure, not 100% positive, but you could invest that 8 somewhere else if you wanted to. I didn't find any purpose for it, and as far as the speed goes, you could go 244 speed if you want to, but again, I just figured may as well go max speed because if I face other Garchomps, then I can have a speed tie and know that I'm not going to be losing every speed war against them. As far as the bulk goes, 76 HP with the 4 defense is specific to live 252 Jolly Behemoth Blade from Zacian. That's all I really felt like it needed to live. You might be thinking, what about Play Rough? But Behemoth Blade actually does more to Garchomp while Dynamax than Play Rough would when you're Dynamax, despite it being super effective in stab. Zacian's just that powerful with Behemoth Blade. When in doubt, just use Behemoth Blade. And if you're not Dynamaxed, you're not going to be living Play Rough no matter what, unless you want to give it Roselli Berry, but I think this is the best set. You might want to try using something other than Swords Dance. You could try going Crunch for Indeedee Shadowrex teams, or you could try going Dragon Claw if you want to have some sort of other Dragon Stab to deal with dragons, but I feel like this is the best set. Garchomp is particularly good against Sun and Colossal because the common mons you fight on that, Garchomp just completely walls and can even outspeed. Like Charizard can't do anything because you'll outspeed and OHKO it with Max Rockfall. Venusaur can Fret and Sleep Powder on you, but you can always pair this with Indeedee, and then Venusaur can never sleep you because of safety goggles with the Indeedee. I just find it to be rather useful in a lot of my games, so I think this is a mon I'm going to keep in mind for a lot more often during this remainder of the Sword and Shield format. On to Venusaur now. So Venusaur spreads just the exact same way as the PC4 spread. You live Max Airstream and Max Hailstorm from 252 Adamant, non-Life Orb though, non-Life Orb, Glastrier or Landorus. And you'll also live Flare Blitz in the Sun from all Incineroars, well, pretty much all of them. I didn't want Torkoal on this team because I like Venusaur a lot design-wise. And Torkoal's cute too. Torkoal's not bad. I just see it so often, and I wanted to set out for myself a way where I could use Venusaur without using Sun, and I feel like in this format, Venusaur would be particularly good for that because Sun is so common you could use Venusaur against other Sun teams, but it's also really good into Kyogre, so I really don't think Torkoal is that much of a necessity. And you have Indeedee if you want to, so if you want to Sleep Powder something, you can just use Follow Me and then Sleep Powder with Venusaur, which I always find to be rather convenient. There's really nothing more to say about Venusaur, so I guess I'll get into the last mon being Indeedee. So the Indeedee has 244 HP, 252 defense, relaxed nature, 12 special defense, and with the relaxed nature I also have 0 speed IVs. The item is Safety Goggles, and the moveset is Follow Me, Expanding Force, Helping Hand, and Shadow Ball. So the Follow Me, simple, you want the redirection, Expanding Force. Why wouldn't you want Expanding Force? Psychic Terrain's up. Helping Hand's always good into supporting the members. And then Shadow Ball, I wanted to make sure you hit the Calyrex. As for the spread, 244 HP makes me have 176 HP, and that's multiple 16, so I'll get more HP recovery from something like grassy terrain. And then as far as the defense goes, it's calc for Zacian. I don't know what nature the Zacian was, but I'm pretty sure it was 252 Jolly Zacian Behemoth Blade. It may have been 164 Adamant, or it may have been 156 Adamant, or it may have been 252 Adamant Behemoth Blade. I'm pretty sure it's for Jolly though. This was a spread I made in Series 8 and I've just been using ever since, and it's super consistent. It's simple as that, really. Indeedee isn't that complex of a mon to me. You don't really need to go out of your way to make something super complex with it. And that's the team, guys. So despite me falling a little bit in the last laddering session, my overall ranking is still really strong. Last time I checked, I was top 30 in the world still, so I still think this team has its merits, and it's definitely worth trying if you see this video and want to give it a test. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and tell me what you think about this kind of team report where I have showdown replays of me playing the team versus me being in the team builder itself where you can see the mons with the spreads and whatnot.